This Dilijan tunnel in Armenia is 2.2 kilometers long, well illuminated and air conditioned. The Dilijan tunnel that runs beneath the Dilijan mountain pass was launched in 1970 but completed only in October 2003. The tunnel is 5.4 meters high and up to 9 meters wide. Engineers say that this Dilijan tunnel will operate for 100 years without any major repairs.
John, we were part of the Soviet Union. He told you, yeah, we were part of the Soviet Union. One of the most interesting things about Georgia is that you remember Stalin, yeah? So Stalin was Georgian. Stalin was Georgian, yes. So she was born in Georgian family in Gori, and tomorrow we are going to his museum, okay, to his house museum. Okay, Georgia was one of the most important countries in Soviet Union. So in Soviet Union there was 14 countries, and Georgia, despite of that it was a small, tiny country, it was very, very important economically, culturally, and yes. It is modern construction, but the buildings which you see in front of you, it is a part of old city. These buildings are from 18th and 19th centuries, okay? And the Narikala fortress where we are going by the cable car, it is from 4th century, even before the capital of Georgia, Tbilisi, was moved here in 5th century, okay? Now please follow me. Okay. We are not crossing. We are not crossing the bridge.
Okay.
Taking photos and we are back. Okay, we are not crossing the bridge. Okay, we don't go to the side. We are continuing to the
कहीं मारा कर ध्यान दे पर एंड फोटो पर दे पर
Georgia is a country in the Caucasus region of Eurasia, located at the crossroads of Western Asia and Eastern Europe. It is bounded to the west by the Black Sea, to the north by Russia, to the south by Turkey and Armenia, and to the southeast by Azerbaijan. The capital and largest city is Tbilisi, known for its diverse architecture and cobblestone streets of its old town. Georgia covers a territory of 69,700 square kilometers. Georgia is a developing country and ranks 70th on the Human Development Index. Human rights in Georgia are guaranteed by the country's constitution. There is an independent human rights public defender elected by the Parliament of Georgia to ensure such rights are enforced. Interestingly, Joseph Stalin was a Georgian born in a city called Gori, and Stalin went on to shape the destiny of Russia. On 9th April 1991, shortly before the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Supreme Council of Georgia declared independence. Georgia is now a representative democratic parliamentary republic with the president as the head of state and prime minister as the head of government.
Something about religion and so on, but now about population, I haven't told anything. So we are 3.5 here, okay. 3.5 million in Georgia. In Georgia, yes, but we were 5 million when Soviet Union was ruined, okay. When it is, but about 1.5 million or 2 million people just have migrated, okay? Migrated to Europe, to USA, to Russia and some other countries.
The mineral content of these sulfur springs has been shown to help persisting skin conditions like psoriasis, acne, and eczema. The history of the sulfur baths is the history of Tbilisi itself. The location of the city was specifically chosen because of the hot springs that run beneath the earth and even inspired the name Tbilisi, means warm place. Legend has it that King Vakhtang Gorgasali happened upon the hot sulfurous waters while out hunting with his falcon. We can see the bird immortalized in statue form on the bridge near the baths. The brick domes of the royal baths allow natural light to stream into the bathrooms and provide ventilation for the sulfuric steam to escape. Jummah Mosque is the only mosque in Tbilisi where Sunni and Shia Muslims pray side by side. And thus, this is the only mosque in the world where the two sects worship together.
Georgians, they are first winemakers in the world. First winemakers. First, 8,000 years ago, we made the first wine. It is proved by archaeologists. They found 8,000 years old wine here in Tbilisi. Okay? So we are really proud of it. We have many kinds of wine, but original Georgian wine, it is always dry. Okay? Always dry wine we have. But you can of course buy dry, semi-sweet, sweet, even ice wine here. We do it, but when Georgian wine is sweet, it is made by European technology. Okay? But our original one is always dry, and we make it in the pots which are underground. In the pots, clay pots, okay, underground, and which are preserved and kept 1 year. After 1 year, some of them 6 months, we have a Georgian dry wine.
प्यार से फिर क्यों डरता है दिल प्यार हुआ इकरार हुआ है प्यार से फिर क्यों डरता है दिल कहता है दिल रास्ता मुश्किल मालूम नहीं है कहाँ मंजिल कहता है दिल रास्ता मुश्किल मालूम.
The 6th century Georgian Orthodox monastery, that is the Jvari Monastery or the Monastery of the Cross, is built on a hill opposite the confluence of Aragvi and Metekhi rivers at an elevation of 656 meters above the sea level. The church is included on the UNESCO World Heritage Site list. According to traditional accounts, on this location, in the early 4th century, Saint Nino, a female evangelist, credited with converting King Mirian III of Iberia to Christianity, erected a large wooden cross on the site of a pagan temple. The cross was reportedly able to work miracles and therefore drew pilgrims from all over the Caucasus. In circa 545, a cruciform church known as the Small Church of Jvari was built just north of the cross. Between circa 586 and 605, a larger church was constructed directly above the site of the wooden cross, the base of which is still visible inside the church. The name Jvari in English means cross and derives from a huge wooden cross erected on the site. Hence, it is also called the Monastery of the Cross. Jvari Monastery is one of the most iconic in Georgia. Jvari has been an important pilgrimage site since its founding and is considered one of the most sacred places in all of Caucasus. Jvari Church attracts thousands of tourists because of its architecture, location, and historical value. Two ways lead to the top of the mountain where the church stands: a new asphalted road for vehicles and a pathway through which people used to climb up to the sanctuary from time immemorial. Such a practice is commonly seen in India too. For example, Chamundi Hills in Mysore and also the world-famous Tirupati temple. Both the temples are accessed by road and also through steep steps, generally used by the more tradition-oriented devotees and also by those who vow to climb up the stairs in fulfillment of their wishes. Human psyche has so much in common in every part of the globe that one could easily establish links and parallels once the underlying principle is deciphered. Jvari Monastery is the culmination of a number of artistic and architectural aspirations in early Christian Georgian architecture. The view of the confluence of Metekhi and Aragvi rivers is simply superb. Built atop the rocky Jvari mountain, this monastery is an example of harmonious connection with the natural environment characteristic to Georgian architecture. According to traditional accounts, King Vakhtang Gorgasali erected here Metekhi Church, symbolically resembling the church built on Virgin Mary's tomb in Gethsemane Garden in Jerusalem. He also built a fort which served as a king's residence. Hence comes the name Metekhi, which literally means the area around the palace. However, none of these structures have survived the Mongol invasion of circa 1235. Under the Russian rule, the church lost its religious purpose and was used as a barrack. The citadel was demolished in 1819 and replaced by a new building which functioned as the infamous jail down to the Soviet era and was closed only in 1938. In the later part of Soviet period, The church was used as a theater. The equestrian statue, that is, riding on a horse, of King Vakhtang Gorgasali by the sculptor Elguja was erected in front of the church in 1961. The Metekhi Church is a cross-cupola church. While this style was the most common throughout the Middle Ages, the Metekhi Church is somewhat anachronistic with its 3 projecting apses in the east facade and the 4 freestanding pillars supporting the cupola within. The church is made of brick and dressed stone. It was a Saturday when we visited this church. Georgians prefer Saturdays to get married. As luck would have it, we witnessed the nuptials of a Georgian couple in this Metekhi Church. Watch it for yourself. First, the name of this church.
Svetitskhoveli.
Svetitskhoveli Cathedral stands on a flat ground, unlike the Jvari Monastery, which is on the mountain cliff. The Svetitskhoveli Cathedral is an Orthodox Christian cathedral located in the historic town of Metekhi, Georgia, to the northwest of the Georgian capital, Tbilisi. This Georgian architectural wonder, dating back to the 11th century, has served as a religious center of the country for hundreds of years. The complex includes the church, a gate, a bell tower, castles, and clerical residences. The tombs of the Tbilisi founder, King Vakhtang Gorgasali, is also inside this building. Throughout the centuries, the cathedral served as a burial place for the Georgian kings. The cathedral is included on the UNESCO World Heritage Site list. It is currently the second largest church building in Georgia after the Holy Trinity Cathedral. The original church was built in the 4th century AD during the reign of King Mirian III of Iberia, and it was a small wooden church. Archaeological excavations revealed the remnants of this wooden church within the cathedral. Saint Nino is said to have chosen the confluence of the Mitkvari or the Kura and Aragvi rivers as the place of the first Georgian church. By the 5th century AD, the small church was no longer satisfying the growing community of the city, and Vakhtang Gorgasali built a large basilica, the greatest Assumption church in Georgia that survived until the 11th century. During the restoration of 1970-71, the base of the basilica, built in the late 5th century by King Vakhtang Gorgasali on Saint Nino's original church, was found. During the early years of Georgian church building, the basilica was the dominant type of the Georgian church architecture before the cross dome style emerged. Svetitskhoveli has long been one of the principal Georgian Orthodox churches and is among the most venerated places of worship in the region. The present cross-in square structure was completed between circa 1010 and 1029 by the medieval Georgian architect. The cathedral's height is 54 meters. It has a huge artistic heritage and is considered one of the pearls of Georgian architecture. Svetitskhoveli means the life-giving pillar cathedral. There is an interesting story or legend associated with this. According to this legend, in the 1st century AD, a Georgian Jew from Metekhi named Elias was in Jerusalem when Jesus was crucified. Elias bought Jesus' robe from a Roman soldier at Golgotha and brought it back to Georgia. Returning to his native city, he was met by his sister Sidonia, who, upon touching the robe, died immediately from the emotions engendered by the sacred object. The robe could not be removed from her grasp, so she was buried with it. The place where Sidonia is buried with Christ's robe is preserved in the cathedral. Later, from her grave grew an enormous cedar tree. Ordering the cedar to be chopped down to build the church, Saint Nino had 7 columns made from it for the church's foundation. The 7th column, however, had magical properties and rose by itself into the air. It returned to earth after Saint Nino prayed the whole night. It was further said that from the magical 7th column, a sacred liquid flowed that cured people of all diseases. An icon portraying this event can be seen on the 3rd column on the left hand of the entrance. Reproduced widely throughout Georgia, it shows Sidonia with an angel lifting the column in heaven. Saint Nino is in the foreground. The legend associated with the Svetitskhoveli Cathedral makes it that much more sacred to the believers, as is the case with many other sacred pilgrimage centers, irrespective of what faith one professes. We all subconsciously desire to be nourished on metaphysical experiences which are beyond the realm of human logic, and such a yearning is, no doubt, universal.
Room. Imagine in this wooden tiny house.
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟಾಲಿನ್
Stalin is a Soviet Union ruler and he was the strongest one, among these rulers. Yeah, he had to travel much for his cruel business. Yes, so it is a part of a train by which he used to travel. Okay, it's a part of a train. Yes, by which he used to travel. I will show you the house where Stalin was born.
First, the name.
Uplistsikhe.
Uplistsikhe literally means fortress of God, which is an ancient, abandoned, rock-hewn town in eastern Georgia, some 10 kilometers east of the town of Gori, which is famous as Stalin's birthplace. Built on a high, rocky left bank of the Metekhi River, it contains various structures dating from the early Iron Age to the late Middle Ages and is notable for the unique combination of various styles of rock-cut cultures, most probably from Cappadocia in modern Turkey and northern Iran, as well as the coexistence of pagan and Christian architecture. The city was one of the most important centers of Iberia and in the Middle Ages. It stood on an important trade route that linked Byzantium with India and China. The ancient rock-hewn town played a significant role in Georgian history over a period of approximately 3,000 years, and archaeologists consider it as one of the oldest urban settlements in Georgia. Archaeological excavations have revealed extraordinary artifacts dating from the late Bronze Age all the way up to late Middle Ages. Archaeologists have also unearthed numerous temples relating to a sun goddess worshipped prior to the arrival of Christianity. Most of the unearthed artifacts can be seen at the National Museum in Tbilisi. When Christianity arrived in Georgia, Christian structures have been built, and for a short time, Christianity and the old faith coexisted in the city. Among the ruins, one can find the Hellenistic amphitheater, the pagan temple with an opening in the roof and smaller chambers that seem to have been homes. All the structures were carved out of sandstone rock. On the top of the hill above the ancient settlement, after the introduction of Christianity, a three-naval basilica was built in the 9th and 10th century AD. It is still functioning even to this day. The ancient Uplistsikhe cave complex can be roughly divided into three parts: a lower, middle, and upper section covering an area of approximately 40,000 square meters or 8 hectares. The middle part is the largest and contains the majority of the rock-hewn structures. It is connected to the lower section via a narrow rock-cut pass and a tunnel. Several parts of the most vulnerable areas were completely destroyed by an earthquake in 1920. Now many cave roofs are protected with concrete pillars for support so that they don't fall off.
मुझको नहीं थी खबर, प्यार का नाम है मैंने सुना था, मगर प्यार क्या है ये मुझको नहीं थी खबर। मैं तो उलझा रहा उलझनों की तरह, दोस्तों मेरा दुश्मनों की तरह, मैं दुश्मन तो